Let's talk about Portuguese food. If you've been following my channel, you know I've done so many videos on Portuguese food, like training wheels for tourists. But now, 4 years in, no more training wheels, baby. You've been asking me. Well, here it is. My absolute favorite dishes in Portugal. The food that might just make you think Portuguese food is the best in the world. Buckle up, porque isto vai ser festim, carago. This is some guy named Dave in Portugal, and if you want to see all of my favorite places in Portugal, follow me on Instagram at Dave in Portugal. Now, in no particular order, because I just can't do favorites. Let's be real, you can't live in Portugal and not talk about dourada. Grilled whole, nothing fancy, just salt, olive oil. This white fish is super mild and not fishy at all. The perfect gateway for anyone dipping their toes into seafood. Me, I eat it at least once a week. Can't get enough. You'll find dourada everywhere, but the real magic happens in the fishermen villages. Algarve, Nazaré, Matosinhos. And if you pair it with a crisp glass of vinho verde, é top, mesmo top. Bochechas. The name might sound a little odd, but don't let that put you off. These are little, tender pillows of happiness, slow cooked until they melt in your mouth. Bathed in red wine and olive oil. The best place to try them? The Alentejo region, home of the famous Porco Preto, the Iberian black pig. This is the same breed that Spain uses for their world-famous jamón. Honestly, Portuguese pork might just be the best in the world, and bochechas prove it bite after bite. If you come to Portugal, trust me, you need to try them. Piri piri chicken, the original flame-grilled legend. Here's the story. Chilies came from the Americas, the Portuguese carried them to Africa, and in places like Mozambique, they thrived. Local cooks mixed them with garlic, lemon, and oil, and boom, the piri piri sauce we know today was born. Then it came back to Portugal, where they threw it on a flame-grilled chicken and never looked back. The result? Perfectly charred skin, juicy meat, smoky flavor that clings to every bite. It's spicy, it's addictive, and honestly, every region in Portugal has their own go-to spot, and they all do it really, really well. Camarão tigre. If regular shrimp are the peasants of the sea, tiger shrimp are the kings and queens. Full royalty, crown included. These things are massive. The first time I had one at Ramiro in Lisbon, I legit thought it was lobster. That's how huge they are. The shell, the claws, the meat, it's a full-on seafood workout. And here's the pro tip, and this is not optional. Always suck the head juice. I know, sounds a little weird, but in Portugal, it's basically the law. The flavor in there is pure ocean gold. Skip it, and you might as well hand back your fork and apologize to the waiter. Choco frito, fried cuttlefish. Think calamari, but bigger, juicier, meatier. The locals, they don't just eat it, they worship it here. Golden, crispy strips dunked in a garlicky sauce. One bite, and you're hooked. Lapas, or as they call them in English, limpets. Madeira, my friends, the land of lapas. Pure Atlantic Ocean in every bite. Briny, buttery, smoky. It's like the sea itself pulled up a chair and joined your dinner. Order a plate, squeeze on some fresh lemon, grab a cold Coral beer, and raise your glass. Because once you try these, you'll never look at shellfish the same again. Gambas ao alho, garlic prawns. Sounds simple, right? But in Portugal, it's never just garlic shrimp. It's a full-on sensory show. The pan arrives, still sizzling, garlic smacks you in the face, and the olive oil still bubbling. The shrimp, juicy, dripping in garlic and olive oil, and screaming for bread to soak it all up. And here's the golden rule. Always order extra bread, because in Portugal, you don't just eat the shrimp. In Portugal, you molhar o pão no molho, literally wet the bread in the sauce. Skip that step, and you've missed the whole point. I've been living in Portugal for 4 years now, traveling a lot in between, and making these videos has become my favorite side project. But it doesn't exactly pay the bills, which is why I'm thankful to Incogni for sponsoring this episode and keeping my channel alive. For me, digital life feels a lot like carrying a backpack while I travel. At first it's light, but with every Wi-Fi login at cafe, every booking confirmation, every new app, it gets heavier. Email here, phone number there, even my address tossed in. Before long, the backpack feels stuffed. And here's the kicker. Data brokers I've never met are rifling through it. Incogni steps in and helps clear that backpack out. They contact hundreds of data brokers and demand my information be deleted. If I tried to do it myself, I'd be drowning in forms and follow-ups. Their dashboard makes the process transparent. I can see the progress as my info gets wiped away. Plus, if I notice my data exposed somewhere specific, I can flag it for custom removal with their custom removal feature. Incogni has already helped me delete over 400 entries of my personal data. Let me tell you, carrying a lighter digital load feels so much better. If you want to give it a try, head to incogni.com and use the code DAVEPORTUGAL for 60% off a yearly plan. Thanks to Incogni for keeping the internet a cleaner place. Now, back to the episode. The late night savior, the bifana. A thin pork steak tucked into a soft roll, dripping with mustard, spicy sauce, or even beer sauce depending on the region. I like it just plain. But beware, not all bifanas are created equal. The secret, don't go to fancy restaurants. The absolute best bifanas are tiny hole-in-the-wall spots or the little roadside cafes and truck stops along the non-toll highways. That's where you find the real deal. Cheap, fast, and absolutely unforgettable. Carne de porco all'anciana. Pork and clams in the same dish? Why? Who thought of this? I have no idea, but obrigado to whoever it was. On paper, it makes zero sense. In your mouth, total harmony. Salty, savory, briny. It's like land and sea had a baby and named it delicious. You've got marinated pork cubes, kissed with paprika and garlic, cozying up next to the fresh clams straight from the Atlantic. Then the potatoes join the party, fried until crispy, perfection, soaking up all that sauce. Honestly, if I could only smell one dish forever, this might be it. Razor clams, or as they call it here, lingueirão. Straight out of the Algarve, lingueirão or razor clams. Long and slender, they might look unusual at first, but one bite and you'll understand why they are so beloved here. They're sweet, briny, and incredibly fresh, tasting like the pure Atlantic Ocean in every mouthful. The most famous way to enjoy them is in arroz de lingueirão, razor clam rice, where the clams release their juices into the broth, giving the rice a rich ocean flavor that's impossible to fake. So good you'll eat it and cry for more. Sapataira, stone crab. In Portugal, few seafood starters make a bigger entrance. The waiter sets down a giant crab shell, carefully stuffed with a rich crab pate, blended with mustard, egg, and yes, a touch of beer foam. You spread it generously over warm toast or crackers, sip a crisp glass of vinho verde, and it's pure harmony. Creamy, tangy, briny, and refreshing all at once. The sweetness of the crab paired with that slight sharpness from the mustard is the king of balance that keeps you going back bite after bite. Bacalhau alagareiro. Portugal has 1,001 cod dishes, and trust me, locals will happily remind you of that. But bacalhau alagareiro is the crown jewel. A fillet of cod baked until the skin goes crisp, then drowned in olive oil and garlic. The cod itself is tender and flaky inside, rich and savory outside. And it's one of the most quintessentially Portuguese dishes you can order. The kind of meal that feels like Sunday lunch at a family table. But here's the twist though. That cod, it probably didn't come from Portuguese waters. Most of it is salted, dried, imported from Norway. Portugal just turned it into a national treasure. And honestly, they perfected it. I also highly recommend its counterpoint, polvo alagareiro, the octopus version. Widely considered one of Portugal's best dishes. And if you've never tried octopus before, this is the perfect opportunity to experience it at its finest. Vitela assada. Up in the north, around Gerês, you'll find vitela assada, roast veal made from the local cattle. The meat is marinated slowly, then roasted for hours until it's golden on the outside, melt in your mouth, tender in the inside. It's usually served with potatoes that crisp up in the same pan, soaking in the juices, and rice to catch the rest. Every bite is rich, comforting, and deeply satisfying. This is one of my favorite dishes in all of Portugal, and it's up there with one of my favorite meat dishes ever. Quintessentially northern Portuguese food. Hearty, simple, and unforgettable. Arroz de marisco. Creamy, soupy, and absolutely loaded with the ocean's greatest hits. Shrimp, clams, mussels, crab, and if you're lucky, even lobster. It's Portugal's version of paella, but In my opinion, looser, saucier, richer, and I like it better. Where should you try it? Head to the coast. The fresher the seafood, the better the rice. And in Portugal, fresh is never too hard to find. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my favorite dishes of all time, arroz de pato, Portuguese duck rice. The duck is slowly simmered, its broth used to cook the rice until every grain is full of flavor. The meat is shredded, mixed back in, and topped with smoky slices of chorizo sausage. The Portuguese really know how to remove the gamey taste, leaving the duck tender, delicate, and rich without being heavy. It's cooked with orange zest, adding brightness that cuts through the richness and leaves a gentle citrus aroma. The result is golden, savory, and unforgettable. This is Portugal on a plate. Comfort, tradition, and pure flavor in every bite. So there you have it. After 4 years of living in Portugal, those are my 15 favorite dishes. Was it hard to choose? Claro que sim. But this is the real deal. Now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite Portuguese dish is, and tell me what I missed. If you want more videos about food and life in Portugal, hit that subscribe button because I'll be posting new videos every single week on this channel. And for my absolute favorite places around the country, come hang out with me on Instagram at Dave in Portugal. This is some guy named Dave in Portugal, and we'll see you next time. Até logo, Malta.